Let me just tell you a little bit about this gem. So this is from the MVD Rewind collection, and they do these wonderful genre movies, and they do these like Be Kind, We Rewind stickers and all that shit. And they make a point of making it look like the VHS from the time. The special features on this are voluminous. You got a 4K scan of the movie, I think. Is that right? Well, maybe not. Anyway, it looks beautiful. I don't know if it's 4K. They have I don't know why it's 2 parts. It's essentially 2 hours of black silk underwear. Yes. Sorry, Moto chimed in with a quote from the movie, which was, so these 2 twins separated at birth. You can see this on the YouTube. One, Chad, is raised in so their parents are gunned down in Hong Kong when they're babies. And then one is raised in Hong Kong on the streets and orphanages, and the other in Hollywood by their honorary uncle. So Alex is the one who is like a hard ass. He grows up on the streets of Hong Kong, and then Chad is the guy that grew up in California and is a very kind of quote unquote soft guy. So I learned a little bit, and then they don't know of each other's existence until their mid-20s, and then they team up to avenge their parents' death. Double D, you look puzzled.
So no, I'm just saying it's a lot like the Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, or
exactly like
it is twins.
Yeah,
it's twins. But where Jean-Claude is Arnold and Danny DeVito, like that's
yeah.
Outstanding.
Oh, it's magic. It's magical. But it's directed by Sheldon Lettich, who just prior to that, the year before, had made Lionheart, which is a great Van Damme movie. But Sheldon Lettich also wrote Bloodsport, which is the movie that helped Van Damme like kind of have a career.
I'd like to make a motion that in the future, all references to Jean-Claude Van Damme twin movies will be from now on referred to as his one-man shows.
One-man shows.
Yeah.
Okay, I second that motion.
Yeah,
I was gonna say JCV Double D, but that's all right too. Yeah, I like the one-man show.
I don't know. That's tough. I like that.
You don't want to give up Double D. You don't want to share Double D.
No.
That's
no.
true. Yeah,
But if I was going to, it would definitely be
with JCV Double
Bless
D.
you.
Yeah.
So, for any JC fans that listen or watch, I'll give you a little review of this Blu-ray and some things I learned from it. So, the making of stuff is substantial in that there's 2 hours of making of documentary. For some reason, they separate it into 2 parts. But what's unique to this one that hasn't really happened before
Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby and get ourselves a treat. They wanted an intermission in there. That's why it's 2 parts.
Oh, perhaps.
Yeah.
I can't figure out a reason. There's no logical reason watching it other than they just didn't want it to be 2 hours in a row.
in a row.
In a row?
Or maybe it's a
Is
double
it as
thing.
painful as Gone with the Wind? Because I totally understand why there's an intermission in that one. Like,
You
go out and realize that there's good in the world. Like take 10 minutes and remember that there's awesomeness out there before you have to come back for the misery of another 3 hours remaining of Gone with the Wind.
This is much more voluntary. You watch it or you don't, whether or not you want to.
Fuck that movie. That's all I gotta say. Classic schmassic. Burn every fucking copy. All negatives, everything that we have of it. Like,
and fuck Crease.
And fuck Crease. Yeah.
Seriously though, fuck him.
Seriously. Fuck him right in his ass. Like,
the 2 hours. Oh, sorry.
Right here you go.
Oh, the notes,
there you
yes.
go. Oh yes.
Palmer's for new listeners or viewers. Those Palmer's Cobra Kai season 2 notes.
Don't steal those. Those are mine. My notes.
So the 2-part documentary thing is nice because actually it features extensive comments from Van Damme himself, which is very rare. Like new comment, like all of the people seem to have set up cameras in their own house and they're talking right into the lens. And JC participated a little bit in the Lionheart version, or like similar release from the same company, but he says very little. So I was super excited that he was going to be part of the
What do you
new
want
DVD.
me to say? I mean, I'm going into the room.
Yeah,
I'm getting the thing.
good.
The movie's good. Fuck you. I mean,
That's the Rooker movie. That's Replicant.
yeah, just
And that
just
commentary,
what do you want me to say?
that commentary is half Michael Rooker. They're not in the same room together, and the other half is Van Damme. And
Do
Van
they
Damme is
splice it together like they are in the same room together?
no. They kind of acknowledge that. You can tell, but I kind of think that they did it because Van Damme couldn't do the whole thing himself because I don't think he understood the format. He kept signing off.
Yeah.
He was just like, gonna see
All
more
right,
action
Jean-Claude.
coming up on Replicant. Yeah. So stupid. And at some point, yeah, he just gets exasperated. He's like, the fuck you want me to say? Movie's good. I'm here with my friends.
What's the one? Is it the Boogie Nights commentary where he couldn't get everybody at the same time to do a commentary? So he went around and let them decide how they. And so Mark Wahlberg decided they wanted to drink, and so but it's one commentary that cycles through all of these different commentaries that the director recorded. So he sounds consistent through the whole commentary, but the actors change who he's talking with throughout the movie. But every time it cycles back to him and Mark Wahlberg talking, they are just plastered. Just fucking is that the
I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard that commentary. I'm very interested now though.
There is some commentary like that, and Mark Wahlberg is, I'm pretty sure, is in the movie where they just drink in the commentary. And so they by the end of the commentary, they're just fucking like slurry. They are Swayze. They are Swayze. Like they were texting out the pictures. Like when you watch the commentary, your phone goes off and it's that picture on your phone. And you're like, I get it now. Like,
that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I gotta hear that. And in this Double Impact thing, there's no commentary, but there is that long, basically just interviews. And JC contributes a lot, which is really nice. He's a super humble person at this point. But so some interesting tidbits. There's also some period like from 1991 behind the scenes footage and interviews and stuff, which is nice. And there's like 50 some minutes of extended / deleted scenes that I have to admit I really wanted in there to be the extended like fantasy love scene, because I always heard JC said that like the European cut was crazy. If that was in there, they didn't include it, but there is a lot of like fun stuff for a super fan like myself. Just a few tidbits for like Moto and other JCVD fans listening. So the Chad and Alex thing, Alex takes his name from the son of the person that Van Damme took his surname Van Damme for. I couldn't relate to you the whole story. It's on the documentary, but like Jean-Claude Van Damme's real name is Jean-Claude Van Varenberg. And when he went to become an actor in America, he took this last name Van Damme from this guy from, I think from Hong Kong, whose son is named Alex Van Damme. So he's actually named after that character. Chad is named or sort of modeled in some ways after Chad McQueen, who is Dutch in Karate Kid. He's Steve McQueen's son. He has blonde hair in the Karate Kid. He's not yet showed up in Cobra Kai. He's supposedly in jail in the storyline. I had no idea of this till I watched this Blu-ray stuff.
Who the fuck is Dutch?
I think you'll know him to see him. He's the one who says to Daniel, like, "You're dead meat." Yeah, and he does the head thing. That's right. Yeah. So that's Steve McQueen's son, Chad McQueen, and I guess Van Damme and him like hung out a lot in California, like in Hollywood around the time that this movie was being developed, and in some ways, like he kind of modeled the character after him. Not then like he's a soft black silk underwear wearing guy. I don't know exactly what it was, but he mentions that in the behind the scenes. And then I guess the last thing that was, I think, worth mentioning is that I don't remember what year it was. It's been in the last 10 to 15 years, certainly after Van Damme's like prime theatrical like run and all this. He's bipolar. He knows he's bipolar. It's publicly known that he's bipolar. And he kind of talks about that in the making of this movie as being like, you know, he's like, that's kind of just something that's a part of me. And so something about like these two sides of me, like he doesn't say it very articulately. The director and writer Sheldon Lettich, Sheldon Lettich and Van Damme wrote the movie together, but Van Damme
wrote this one-man show.
One-man show, yes.
Yeah.
It's written for Van Damme, like, because they'd been working together a lot. They just made Lionheart together, did Bloodsport. They went on to do a couple other movies together. But Sheldon Lettich wrote it for Van Damme and these two sides kind of his personality. So I don't know. I thought that was all kind of interesting, and it's been a really fun jaunt down memory lane for JC and me. The second installment or whatever. And just because I have him sitting here, just to give him shout outs, he's had two new movies, The Bouncer and We Die Young, come out in 2019. They're both pretty solid, like, genre pieces. In both, he's in this like sad old man period of his career.
Yeah.
Like he just sort of plays downtrodden guys that are drawn and have to fight, but they're not like, it's nothing like they do fight but I don't know, it's hard to explain. Sad old man maybe is not appealing as a selling point, but that is the kind of characteristic, I would say. But these are actually both pretty decent. If you're a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, there's a few of his more recent movies in the last few years I haven't seen.
He's following Clint Eastwood's arc of career.
Yeah, or maybe like Charles Bronson, but less successfully, or less sort of empowered. Like, these are not especially empowered characters. They persevere, but and he's got that sort of perma scowl that he wears. But anyway, little Jean-Claude Van Damme there.